and enjoy the show a little bit more.
There we go. We're up and live now.
Oh,
For some reason, it took a minute for YouTube to jump up. I don't know what the deal was.
You know, sometimes everything's just average when we get around.
We do everything average or below. We're never above average around here.
But yeah, so today was kind of. I think today's going to be kind of very, very random.
Very, a little bit.
Got a little bit busy. I've been trying to fix up my house a little bit. You've been bacheloring it with 2 kids.
I have. It's way harder than it sounds.
Well, I mean, we look after your 2 kids while you're at work, and I mean, it's like having a babysitter. Like we get so much work.
The older one is way easy. Like you could just let her go, but if you lose sight of the little one, yeah, there's some definite mischief going on. So,
but yeah, I mean, here in Havre, it is. What was it? It was 93 when we were on the golf course.
It was warm.
Has it went down since then, or?
Right now it says it feels like it's 91. Anything over 85, I just stop paying attention. It's just too damn hot. So.
Yeah, I don't know. This is a busy day. We golfed and I worked on some stuff around the house. And
I woke up, mowed the lawn, well, took an allergy pill, then mowed the lawn. Had to wait 15, 20 minutes.
Oh, yeah, because your mom's watching your kids.
Yeah, they're out camping. Why aren't we camping?
I don't know if I'd want to camp in this weather. I don't have one of those fancy little things that you go and live in.
Oh, no, I don't have one either. But it's way nicer out in the mountains. It's, shade.
Yeah. I mean, I just have an idea. Do they have tents that you can peg in little streams to keep you cool?
So it'd have to float?
Well, I mean, like it could be all waterproof and the stream just kind of goes around it. And they could make it so that it has like little channels to go underneath and you could just like camp inside.
You should probably get on that.
You know, it would fall apart. You'd wake up
if you build it, no one will buy it.
If you build it, they won't buy it.
Because they're going to be like, no, we're going to get wet. Who built this thing? Oh, Barry. So we're getting wet? Probably.
That's what they all say.
Oh, wow.
So you got any stories for me?
Do I have some? Well.
Oh, wait. Should we start with the...
Well, we'll do yours first, and then we'll do mine here in a little bit, right? So our Pay It Forward challenge, right? If any of you took up our little challenge, you could post that on our Facebook page or comment in the live stream right now.
I forgot to put it on the KNMC Facebook. I meant to.
Drop the ball, Barry.
I did. I got to get better at this internet's thing. Well, mine, I didn't even tell my wife, but I actually thought it was kind of funny. I was just driving down Maine, and I saw an older lady that was going to cross the street, and I was like, let's do it. I pulled over, and I got out, and I was like, would you like help to cross the street? She's like, no, get away from me.
Honestly, if you were walking at me, some weird, strange guy, yeah, I'd be like, no, go away.
So I attempted, and I was like, this just makes a better story. She was very creeped out by me, I think.
Yeah, I can't imagine why.
Oh, and she was, is it a Heterite? Is that right?
Heterite?
Yeah. It was one of the thing on here. Yeah, so I think that might have made it worse.
Yeah. I don't know what. Yeah. You just creep people out, man.
Well, that's what I do. That's how I pay it forward.
Hopefully, she did a good deed because you didn't, or
I attempted.
Yeah,
because I was trying to think. I was
she probably thought you were hitting on her.
I didn't want to do something that was like buying something,
right?
Or like paying for something for somebody, or. Because, I mean, I did have opportunities for that, but I always feel like when you do that, there's like a handout. I want to do something more that was like spur of the moment kindness, and nothing was popping up. And I was thinking about it while driving to go do some shopping.
You were doing it like yesterday, like, man, I got to get this done before tomorrow.
Right? So I was like, I saw an opportunity. I went, you know what's the worst that could happen? And then after I did it, I was like, the worst that could happen was she could have had a gun, because you're allowed to carry guns here.
Yeah.
I was like, that would.
She could have shot you, but
I don't have a face that people want to shoot. I just have a face that people don't want to see.
And you wear glasses, so they won't punch you in the face.
I forgot them today when we were golfing, and that made it difficult.
No wonder why you shot so bad.
I shot 50. What was it? 56?
Well, no, because usually when you have your glasses, you can you seem to find your ball a little better.
Oh.
And so when you have me and Scott looking for it,
the thing is,
your real score comes out.
It was hard. It was hard for me to swing properly due to the fact that I line my glasses up at the right spot, and I know where the ball needs to be in my glasses.
Oh, so that's what it is.
Yeah, I beat you.
You beat me all the time.
No, that's not true. You beat me once.
So yeah, you beat me all the time.
Yeah, that was mine.
So I'll get to mine here in a little bit, but
we're gonna have to wait for
yours. So, but a couple of I did find a few interesting stories. Actually, I skipped one last week that I didn't bring up, but I had it saved, but I didn't get to it. Apparently, a guy hijacked a school bus in South Carolina. And he gave himself up to authorities after 18 children nagged themselves to safety.
So you tried to kidnap the kids?
Basically, he kidnapped a bus full of 18 of you.
Man, that'd be rough.
He was armed also. I don't know how they didn't get,
That's like one of those things that I always told myself. I was like, if you ever get captured and they're trying to ransom you, you know they don't want to kill you because they want to be able to get money for you. So you just you'd look at them and be like, you don't have it. You can't do it.
So
I'm going to do it.
So the guy took over the bus. He pointed the gun at the bus driver's head and told him to drive to the next town. But the driver said the children were continuously grilling him, peppering him with questions, which seemed to frustrate him until it eventually led to their release. They kept asking him if he was a soldier, which he answered hesitantly. Then they asked him, "Why are you doing this?" They just kept peppering with a bunch of questions.
What are you doing? What's your sign? What's your end game?
Right.
Are you sure that's going to work? If I was you, I would probably do this.
Yeah, all he wanted to do was apparently get to the next town. I'm thinking he could have got there with an Uber.
Or he could have just walked.
Yeah. But he is currently, he was carrying an M4 rifle, but it didn't have any ammo in it. So, but still.
Well, it's somebody trying to get something but doesn't want to shoot anybody.
Yeah. But you got to give it to those kids, man. I mean, I was in I feel bad for anyone who was a teacher when I was a student, because our class was particularly hard on, especially substitute teachers. We made 7 shop teachers quit.
Yeah, I had one I called her Mrs. P, and she didn't like it. Her name was Miss Palmetier. And the worst so every time she was the go-to substitute teacher at our school. And I lived in a smaller town than this. And I still remember when she was substituting in a class, and I was on my spare. So I just wandered the halls of my spare and talked to people. And I saw that she was in there, and the class had just started. So I walked in and I sat down. And my buddies are like, "What are you doing here?" I was like, "Don't worry, I got this." About 5 minutes into the class, I grabbed one of their books and I slammed it on the desk. And I was like, "I can't take this. This is freaking ridiculous." I just stormed out. And then 5 minutes later, I heard on the PA around the school, "Would Barry Brownlee please report to the principal's office, Barry Brownlee?" And I went down there, and my principal's like, "Barry, what are you doing?" And Miss Palmetier said that you got up, slammed it. And I looked at him, I was like, "I'm not even in that class. What are you talking about?"
Do you know she's losing her mind? Yeah, we were pretty bad to our teachers. And I feel really bad about it now, knowing that teachers get it. They have it really rough. I mean, let's face it.
They know what they're getting into.
Oh, I couldn't teach. Not high school kids, anyway.
I mean, I coached. I knew
The
exactly.
minute kids start developing their own personality quirks and stuff like that, that's the minute I'd stop. Like, nope, I'll stick with kindergarten and preschool. Here's the ball. Go get it.
Even that. Like, we had our friend's kid from out of town that just came to visit, and Persephone and him are the same age, and they are completely different. Like 100% different. Mm-hmm. I was like, ugh, because I would tell him to do stuff, and he would just stare at me and keep doing it. And then his mom would yell at him to not do it. He would just stare at her and keep doing it.
You are babysitting my 2-year-old. Right?
Well, he listens to us
on occasion.
Oh no! If he goes out the door and I'm like, Kingston, you get in here. He pops the lip out and just walks as slow as he can towards the door.
Not me. He just takes off.
Yeah, well, you're his dad.
Yeah. I have no power here.
Yeah, dads don't have power.
Yeah. If I were Superman, he is definitely the kryptonite. He just, nope, got nothing. You think you have power. You ain't have power.
No. Well, should I put a little bit of some music?
Sure.
All right, let's see what randomly pops up when I just click Bryan Adams Radio.
Because I didn't come prepared. Oh, wow.
It's got to play. Sometimes, technology is rough. Oh, perfect.
Perfect. What are you listening to?
It is My Wedding Song.
Oh, yeah. You mean the Robin Hood song?
Yep. It's a live version, though, so I don't know what it sounds like.
A lot like the original version, only live.
So damn good. Should be on the basketball team.
Should you?
No. I get fouls a lot.
So, since this was requested on the Facebook page, on our Facebook page, we did ask if anybody had any topics they'd like us to discuss, and we got a comment. Should tricks? You're not listening to me.
I'm just making sure what it sounds like.
You're worse than me. Oh, yeah.
Then worse than what? Continue that sentence, Derek.
You're worse than my kids. Should Trick Cereal stop discriminating against adults?
Yes.
Absolutely. Like, at what point, like, we were all kids once, right? You always watch that. And you're like, when you're a kid, it don't matter. Like, yeah, I'm a kid, whatever.
Well, I mean, it's a hard kind of topic because I was thinking about it. And I was like, yeah, they should stop discriminating. But at the same time, they're like silly rabbit tricks are for kids, and they take the bowl away from the rabbit. If they didn't say that it was for kids, it's for everyone, then we would slap the kid and take the cereal because the kid ain't getting the cereal. Silly kid, tricks ain't for you. Tricks are for hookers on the street.
Right? I mean, I eat a lot of cereal. I mean, that's the one thing I can eat every day of the week.
Yeah, I do eat cereal, and I get looked at. I get judged.
Why?
Because I eat cereal all the time.
Well, I guess your wife did point out that it's usually the cereal with the marshmallows in it.
Lucky Charms. That was one. I hadn't bought Lucky Charms in like a year.
Right.
And the one time.
Like, yeah, I don't. Yeah, they make cereal for kids, but you were just way into Bryan Adams.
I love Bryan Adams.
Well, he's one of the three great things that came out of Canada. He's
the greatest thing.
Are you sure?
Yep. Oh, me. Sorry. Forgot.
Didn't your wife come out of Canada?
Yeah. The third.
So it goes you, Bryan Adams, and
she would understand.
You could just play Please Forgive Me.
I don't know what I'm doing.
He doesn't think before he speaks, Sammy. It's okay.
Yeah, I really don't. I say it as it is.
So what's your all-time favorite cereal?
My all-time favorite cereal.
And they told you couldn't eat it anymore because it's just for kids.
Well, I've never heard the just for kids thing except for on like commercials.
It's only for tricks too.
Yeah, but I mean, Lucky Charms is my all-time favorite. And you eat everything but the marshmallows.
Right. So you get like 3 spoonfuls of marshmallows at the end. I'm a fan of, God, I like so many different cereals. It's hard to pick just one.
Well, I mean, I love Captain Crunch, but it damages.
Oh, it inflicts wounds.
They need to make it, but smooth it out.
Can you guys make the Captain Crunch less sharp?
Yeah. it's like 5 minutes after you've eaten it, you realize you're bleeding.
And the Crunch Berry one's pretty good, but I'm a fan of just the regular Captain Crunch.
Yeah.
Don't mind all berries, but
Ding!
Ding ding. Cinnamon Toast Crunch. That's your wife's favorite. That's a good call.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, she does like that one. So it was on the discount aisle, and we must have had like 7 boxes.
Well, see, what I like to do is, and this is just, we've always done it this way, is like you go see you get the boxes, right? But then you keep going a little further and you get the Malto meal cereals. It's like 4 times as much for the same price. So if you get the Fruity Pebble bag out of the box, it's like this big. It's just a tiny little thing. But you go to the Malto meal and you're like, oh, that's like a 7-gallon bag of freaking Fruity Pebbles. I've got like 2 days worth of Fruity Pebbles there.
2 days?
Oh, I eat that stuff by the box. And the best part of like Count Chocula and stuff like that, chocolate, is you eat chocolate milk when you're done eating.
That's what was going on. It was doing that thing again where I was like, why does it sound like they're singing way back in the background?
It's because
these stupid headphones are busted.
Don't blame the headphones when it's your fault. Wow, we lost 2 viewers. They must hate our cereal conversation.
We're tough.
We're a hard listen.
Chex.
Oh.
It's Chex cereal. Is that like, that's like the Life cereal, but like in an octagon shaped thing or something.
It's not an octagon. It's still a square.
Is it? Yeah. I never had it, so I just don't know.
I'm a fan of Honey Chex. I'm a fan of just about any Chex, actually. Rice Chex, Wheat Chex, Honey Chex.
So,
if it's in a bowl and I can put milk on it, I'll eat it.
If for dinner tonight, we just brought over some cereal.
Hell yeah, I'd be in heaven.
We've got Fruity Pebbles, we've got Captain Crunch, and we've got a First Aid Kit.
Yeah, I do remember French Toast Crunch, and it failed because it just wasn't as good as Cinnamon Toast Crunch. So what do you got going on there?
Right now, it is Perfect by Ed Sheeran.
Ooh, is that the redheaded guy?
I don't know. I just know the song.
Oh. I think he won like Fruit Loops, no milk. That's. I don't know if I could do cereal without milk.
I've done the cereal in water.
Oh man, how desperate were you to eat something?
I lived in a place with other guys that ate all of the food. If you bought it, they would just eat it while you were sleeping.
Well, that's where you just go up and you dick tap them.
They probably liked it.
They probably would. Yeah, Fruit Loops, no milk. That's pretty hardcore. Now, see, my trick is because I don't like soggy cereal that much, I have to hurry up and eat it before it gets soggy.
I like it so that you have a couple where it's not, and then you have to let it sit for a second.
Well, Captain Crunch is the exception to the rule. Otherwise, you are taking damage every time you take a bite.
Man, I don't know how that passed like a safety ordinance. Like, there must have been like 8 out of 10 kids have like almost died from blood loss.
Well, you get done eating it and you rub your tongue on the roof of your mouth, and you can feel like stalactites of skin hanging there. You're like, jeez.
I remember when I was a kid, when I was eating it, I would take one. I put one kernel on it and just eat one at a time because then it wouldn't slice your mouth up as much.
Oh, man, we could talk all day about cereal. But we're not going to talk all day about cereal, but we could.
I do like talking about food.
And food's an important part of our life. It's a very popular thing.
And I saw, so Joe Biden is at the G Summit, right?
Probably.
And he went to church because he's an avid churchgoer. And it was like all over the news. Like it was a huge deal. I was like, he went to church. He's been doing it since he was a kid.
Right.
But I mean, there was like people being like, is the church nice? And you could see him being like, you could have came into the church. It was during mass.
It was just a little more crowded with more guys in suits than usual.
Yeah, well, they didn't even know that he was going to show up. He just came in and went to go to church, which I thought was kind of cool.
Well, what I didn't know, and I just recently read it. Wow,
Your brain just blew up?
Yeah. That former presidents always have Secret Service with them for the rest of their lives. So
it's kind of like you're married. Here we go.
So, yeah.
All right, that was perfect by Ed Sheeran. Sheeran, I don't know if I'm saying it right.
Sheeran.
And that was also, if you didn't know the first one was Bryan Adams, then we can't be friends.
Why are you guys even listening?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I guess we'll just do random. I've got so many random weird stations on here.
Yeah,
so
there you go.
We'll just give them all a shot, see what happens.
So this one hits a little bit home, so we will talk about this live on the radio. Newly signed Montana law will raise auto insurance rates for women, unarmed drivers, and widows. Consumer Federation of America. I cannot tell you how much crap this is. When are we going to crawl out of the dark ages?
Well, and the dumb thing is there's like there's no way that makes sense.
Well, and here's the thing. Montana was one of the first states to obliterate this, to say you cannot charge different based on race, sex, and ethnicity. And here we are 40 years later going, but we can.
To me, it's not so. Whenever we're on the radio, I always try to find like the other side's point of view a little bit.
There isn't one here,
and I can't think of one for this.
Like I could see. Okay, so
like who passes a bill? But like, you know what? If it was flipped, there would be a war right now.
Oh yeah.
But why is it when it's not that it's like, oh, whatever?
Yeah. Well, my only thing is they're like, well, women have a tendency to have more medical issues, which. Maybe not. I don't know if there's any data that would support that.
I don't know.
Is it just because guys are too stupid to go to the doctor, and by the time they do, it's too late?
How many? I bet you, if you look at household injuries, men are at the top of the list.
I don't say most of them because they're stupid related. Like, what were you doing? Nothing. Don't worry about it. Like, I almost took my thumb off with a.
I mean, that's just another one of those things where it's like. I don't know. Like, as a person coming in from Canada, everybody just has access to free healthcare.
Right. But this is auto insurance, which is just...
now you're looking at auto insurance, where, I mean, the only thing that usually defines that is based on your record of how many accidents.
So are they saying that women are worse drivers than men?
Yeah, and the problem is there's not really a whole lot of data.
Well, there is data that supports that men drive more than women. By a substantial amount, which throws the data off.
Well, and that's the problem, is you've got that, but then you also got to think about they're still using data that I guaranteed was from when cars kind of first started getting insurance, and women weren't allowed to drive yet.
Well, or their husbands are like, you can't drive my car.
Yeah. And I mean, I like to feel that the relationship I am is pretty equal, but I do enjoy driving more than she does. So I'll end up driving anytime we go somewhere. And once in a while, she will shove me out of the way and drive. And it feels weird. But
if my wife wants to drive, I let her drive. If she wants me to drive, I drive. I'm not too really...
But the thing that kind of bothers me is that why is it all of a sudden that it won't affect their insurance if they're married?
Right. Well, and here's the thing. Like, so say you're married and your husband passes, and all of a sudden now your insurance rates are going to jump.
Yeah, so it's like, oh, great, I'm having this traumatic time in my life, and we're also going to increase your rates. But, I mean, if the wife was to pass away, it wouldn't affect the rates of a man.
No.
And... I don't know. I'm going to look at it from when I was a teenager. I don't know many girls that go down to a straight strip and race down a road
Well, how many times have you been in a car with your buddy? He goes, check this out. No.
Yeah.
Please no. I drive better when I'm wasted. No, you don't. You don't drive very good to begin with.
The other thing too is like, I mean, I don't know. The only thing, I don't know. I've been in a couple accidents. Yeah. How many were reported?
I've only been in 2.
Like, because they were all just involved me being stupid as a kid.
Right.
I didn't report any of them because we could fix it. So, I mean,
yeah.
I think it's the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
Yeah. But we need to stop looking at people as if male or female, white, black, red, green, or orange. Who cares? They're just people. Okay? They want insurance. Let them insure each other. You know, just, oh yeah, we're going to insure you.
Yeah.
Now, I understand they do charge more for insurance for first, time drivers, like your kids and stuff.
Yeah.
Kind of makes sense. They're not used to it. But still.
Well, I think, a lot of problems, I don't want to get too political, but, I mean, we can use, the immigrant comment. And people hear the word immigrant, and they look at it as a whole. But then they never really understand that when they're talking to one as an individual, they don't think that. And, I mean, I just know that personally, because I've had people where they come up to me, and I've had good conversations with them, and then they start talking about, they're like, oh, yeah, the immigrants are coming down, and I have to stop them. And I'm like, you do realize that I'm an immigrant. And they're like, oh, but you're one of the good ones. I'm like, that doesn't make any sense.
No, it doesn't. So in Canada, you guys drive on the same side of the road that we do, right?
Yes, we do.
But think about it. Like Britain and all those other countries, they don't. They drive
on the left.
They drive, so that the seat, that the driver's seat is in the center of the road. Because the steering wheel moves too in English cars. And I think Australia is that way too.
Well, I know it's because...
now that would just mess me all up. I'm like, I can't drive here. This is too weird.
Yeah. I don't know why that happened. I think it's because, it's like the toilet spin the other way. I don't know.
That's more to do with physics than anything.
I honestly, I can't tell you why. My guess would be is maybe the way that the roads were when modern cars started getting built.
In most of the places in Europe and stuff like that, the cars are smaller for the simple fact that the roads are narrower because they're based off of the old.
Well, that's why you get the bugs, like the old buggies and the Austin Martins.
Yeah, they're based off of the old carriages that were only 4 or 5 feet wide. They weren't real big cars.
Yeah.
And so that, ladies and gentlemen, is stupid. Raising insurance rates because you're a female.
It makes me just want to be like, all right, well, if that's the case,
if you're a female and you're okay with this, that's just crazy to me. I don't understand. Like, why? What did you do?
To me, that makes it so that it should be like, okay, so if we look at it that way, then you look at alimony payments. So if a man ends up getting the kids, a woman shouldn't have to pay as much for alimony because a man's going to make more money.
Not in my relationship.
But so the other way around, if it's a woman, then the man has to pay way more.
Right.
Because they didn't give birth.
Let's face it, guys couldn't give birth.
Oh,
not just physically. I mean, we couldn't get through the pregnancy part.
I passed a kidney stone, and they say that that's one of the only things that'll get a man close enough to what it's like. And I was apologizing to my wife because I thought I was going to die. I've
seen you with a pulled tooth. You're kind of a wuss.
No, that was just me trying to milk it.
Can you give me the TV remote? It's a tooth, Mary.
Oh, but my tooth makes my face feel heavy.
Can't walk that far.
I'm slightly tilted to the right side because I'm missing a tooth there. No, and I you know what? If you have access to our Facebook page, I would love.
Everybody has access to our Facebook.
I know, but I mean, if they want to do it, and I mean, I would never come back and attack somebody if they said, what their opinion was. I would just like to know why somebody would think that this is a good idea.
I can tell you why the insurance company.
Yeah, they're going to make more money.
They're going to make a buttload more money. Yeah.
But other than that, as the general person, it does nothing to help.
Where is the logistics of it coming from? Like, why does this make any sense?
Yeah, why did it even come up? And why would people think that it's okay to have?
See, and if the insurance companies are smart, they just raise everybody's rates.
Well, they got to do it in chunks,
Right.
right? Because they're going to do this. They're going to be like, oh, you know what? We realize that the statistics show that men are causing accidents too, so we're going to have to even it out, and they'll move it up.
Right.
I don't know. I can't in my brain. It's not a very big brain. I just can't think of why it would be a good thing.
Yeah, that's a very good point. We've, comment here. We've had no tickets or accidents in over 10 years, and her rates are going to go up for no reason.
Oh, hers weren't because you guys are married.
No, well, that's true. You're welcome, by the way.
Yeah. All of our wives, just think, you weren't with us, you'd have to pay more.
So we're good for something.
Maybe. Oh my God. Maybe they put it into play to make it so that wives stay with their husbands.
Ooh. Wow.
Hey, wait, do they get a discount if they have two husbands?
I don't know.
That's another story.
That's another discussion. I don't even think I know that's not legal in this state.
I don't know.
Is it legal in Utah, though?
I don't know.
Well, you're allowed to have in Utah, you're allowed to have more than one wife, but I don't think they're allowed to have more than one husband.
Yeah, that wouldn't make sense. Yeah.
Do you think your wife could put up with more than one husband? Sure, he puts up with you.
We went through the thing where, and I it's one of those joke things where you're like, would you be able to handle if I was cloned?
Oh man.
My big thing has always been the if there was two of me, they'd probably just murder each other because they'd be so jealous of each other.
I'd be like, why are you guys fighting over him?
Right?
There ain't really nothing special there. I mean, more music?
Yeah, I think we need a break over that. What are we gonna do?
Okay, I mean that discussion just makes your brain hurt. Like,
what is thumbprint radio?
I don't know.
Guess we're about to find out.
Oh, you're just picking a random playlist and hitting the go button?
I am. Oh, some country.
Country time. So,
holy jumping. My phone goes off more during the show than.
Yeah. Huh. Interesting. So, here's an interesting story. Montana makes the top 10 list for Dungeons and Dragons nerds.
It's because there's nothing else to do. What else can you do in Montana?
Hunt, fish, ski, boat,
Man,
hike.
I'm sorry. When we played with Amanda last night, I thought it was so awesome. And I know
your wife was super excited. She was like, oh, she was super happy.
I just liked that anytime it was like, yeah, you just click the +2. I can't fucking find it.
It's a little heated at times, but
I just pictured like her being at that. Was it Joe Cena? What's that guy's name? The wrestler guy?
John Cena?
Yeah. Being at that thing and him just literally being like, just play the damn game.
Yeah, but that's kind of cool that we make the top 10 for nerds. You wouldn't think of that in Montana, though. Right?
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of closet things here.
Well, I played sports and played D&D. You know, I mean, I never saw the issue with why it made any difference whether I like sports and tabletop games, like just in general.
I mean, we've got to be careful because the next thing you know, auto insurance will go up for anybody that's associated with D&D.
We're smart. Those are the guys who plug in the numbers to make auto insurance go Um,
I think
Utah's number 1. This is interesting. So the top 10 states, it doesn't list them all, but here's some interesting ones that make the top 10. Montana is the 10. Utah is number 1, followed by Idaho. My phone went black. That's weird. And Oregon. So like these states, while they do have some larger cities in them, for the most part, have a very small and a very large rural population, not a real big.
Because they have nothing else to do.
Granted, in the wintertime, it's tough. I mean, it does.
You go tend the cattle. You come back and fight some demons.
I'm purging the demons from the cows. What were you doing? Slaying demons? Oh, you mean before that? I was feeding the cows.
Yeah. Well, I think it's funny when I find out. Like when I found out that you play Dungeons and Dragons, I was like, "Oh, thank God! I can talk about nerdy stuff."
Well, because and what was really fun is that my wife decided to play yesterday. She normally doesn't play, and that's fine. But I was like, it got my it piqued me like she wants to play. Now, granted, this is probably because she's been cooped up in a hotel room for the last 7 days with
I'd like to think that
no one to hang out with.
She really likes wanting to play, and we talk about it all the time.
You could keep thinking that, but I'm pretty sure that's not.
I mean, Sandy was really excited.
Oh, she was stoked.
And they're somewhat good friends.
What are you talking about? They're BFF USA Canadian friends.
Oh, is that's a long title.
Yeah, it is.
It's a really long title.
Yeah.
See, now I'm cold.
Why?
Because the AC's been blown out.
Just whining because it was 9,000 degrees out while we're playing golf.
It's like minus 20 in here.
Oh, it's nice right here.
Yeah. Well, I've got the nips.
I've got extra layers to help keep me warm.
And not me. I'm in fit peak condition. I don't have that extra layer.
You're a rounded peak. So yeah, no, but I mean, it was fun. I just like the hanging out and having a good time.
Yeah. Well, it was fun last night.
Shenanigans.
I think Tyler kind of once in a while regrets.
Oh, I don't think he regrets it at all. I think there's a few moments where he's just the face palm.
Well, he's
and
like,
everyone
I'm not prepared for this.
Even if I had told him a week ago that he was going to do this, he wouldn't have been prepared.
That's what I mean. He's somewhat prepared, but we do things that he's not prepared for.
To anyone out there who does tabletop gaming of any kind, and you work with a game master, I'm willing to bet 7 out of 10 game masters wait till about 45 minutes before the game is supposed to start. But like, you know what? I should probably peruse the material real quick.
Did you? Well, we can talk about this in like a couple seconds.
Oh, why? Oh, we're gonna do it over there.
We've got like 20 seconds, and that comes over. And this might go a little longer.
Oh, okay.
So and we know we have listeners on the radio that like our D&D talks.
They do,
because they call us. And then what was it, the basement dwellers? I think they called themselves.
Yeah, I dwell in my basement because it's cool down here.
Yeah, it is cool. We should get a whole bunch of cool things.
No, I mean it's physically, temperature-wise, cool. They're down there.
All right. All right, that was some Neon Moon. Brooks and Dunn.
Oh, I was gonna say I've never heard. Who's Neon Moon? Never heard of those guys. Oh, Brooks and Dunn. I have heard of those guys.
Yeah. But yeah, we're on the topic of Dungeons and Dragons. That's pretty usual.
Somehow we always get roped into that. It's either that or hockey.
Yep. We'll get into that a little later.
There's still a Canadian team in it.
Yeah, the dumb one.
So you waited specifically for the radio to come back on. What was your?
Yeah, so
we were just discussing how Montana made the top 10 in states of people most likely to play Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah, and then Utah was number 1.
Yeah,
but Did you know that I know there's this guy in New York that he gets paid $100 an hour to run D&D campaigns?
There are several people who do this.
Why is this not happening from you right now?
Because I'm not very good at it.
No, you could just run like the campaign, and then I will be the background. Right? So then you'll be like, oh, you walk in and you meet the barkeep, and then I'll come out and be like, what do you want?
If people want to pay to play, that's great. They want to pay a guy. These guys, though, they take it seriously and they run very well coordinated.
We're talking Havre, Montana. People just want to play, but have somebody that is. Because I'm going to be honest, I feel like the dungeon master has the worst job.
Yeah, I got to look over a bunch of toddlers.
Yeah. So it's better to be the player. So people pay for dungeon
Have you not
masters.
noticed that I'm a little bit different as a player than I am as a GM?
No, it's pretty much the same.
Oh, really?
Could you imagine me? You said you wanted me to try.
I do.
And it would be the worst experience of anybody's life.
No, it would be the worst experience of your life because that would just make you miserable.
Oh, no. I would just keep going with things.
Keep going. That's it. That's all you got to do. Roll with that.
I'd be like, and a meteorite hits you.
No.
But you're not dead, but your jaw has been blown off.
Cow falls from the sky. You are now half cow. So we are a bit of a nerdy state. I didn't see that coming.
Everybody is nerdy, and if they're not, they haven't tried it.
Right. For the longest time, it was that down low, don't talk
Well,
about it unless you knew they talked about it.
When Dungeons and Dragons first came out, they thought it was what was it? It was like a
Satanic
yeah.
Panic. One of
pleasing the devil.
one of the dice for the game was actually invented, so you could throw the dice at the door. So when people ran into the door, they would step on them and it would slow them down. The D4s.
They are like little cantrips.
The caltrops, yeah. Cantrips.
Mm-hmm. Because you can trip on them.
You can.
Yeah, you liked that. You never thought of that, did you?
You saved that one, didn't you? So, look at Montana getting nerdy.
Yep. It's a Weird Al song.
Yeah, white and nerdy.
Mm-hmm.
And
But yeah, I like playing it.
oh,
It's
I do too. But I like playing sports too. So what are you gonna do? I make time for both.
Yeah, I do too.
Unless a hockey tournament, and then I'm like, sorry guys,
man,
I gotta
on
go
this
to the tournament.
college team, you don't even know.
So what are you gonna do on Saturday nights? We game Saturday night. You're gonna be out of town playing hockey.
Yeah, I'll just have to show up late. I won't shower. I'll just right after the game come home in the hotel, boot up the PC, be like, all right, let's do this.
Well, you guys should have a few home games too. That'd be nice.
And I mean, I found out that it works on my phone, so I could bring it in the shower.
No, please don't.
I'll just mute the mic. Mute the video.
Mute the video. I stab him with a shower head.
What was that? The water's loud.
Are you fighting in a waterfall? Yep. All right, moving on. So do you want, we're a little nerdy here. Do you want to, so this is kind of cool. You're saying at the beginning of the show that you been doing a lot of housework, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you have to fix any concrete?
I do.
They have a self-healing concrete that automatically fills in its cracks.
And how much is this?
I have no idea, but apparently they found that adding an enzyme found in your blood gives concrete regenerative powers.
So is it called bloodcrete?
I hope it's not red. I think it's just an enzyme in your blood. So when a crack forms, this new concrete, the material begins to fill in the gap itself. The process uses an enzyme found in red blood cells to make one of the most ubiquitous materials on the planet much more durable and helps shrink the concrete industry's giant carbon footprint. So the guy who invented it wanted to find a way to bring down, because apparently the carbon footprint for making concrete is huge because you got a lot of machinery to make it.
Mm-hmm. So that he didn't want to take away their first business. He wanted to take away the repair business of it.
Right. Well, and think about it. We still don't make concrete as well as they did in ancient times. Ancient concrete is still getting it's still getting harder.
Yeah. Well, I mean, because we've made it now so it's easier to use.
Yeah, but it's less durable.
Yeah.
But what happens is, by one estimate, the concrete industry is responsible for around 9% of global CO2 emissions. That's more than 3 times more than the airline industry. But
that's a tough one. I mean, just looking on both sides of the fence, because I mean that's a lot of work that would get taken away if you no longer had to repair.
So
but then also, how would it work?
So what they do, if you don't have the concrete poured originally, is you can actually have the enzyme that they use sprayed on your current concrete. And what happens is when it mixes with CO2, it forms a crystalline structure.
Okay.
And it fills in the gaps. That's how it works.
Now remember, everybody, we actually don't really know. He's just reading what it says in the article.
Yep. I'm reading what it says.
I just don't want people coming up on our Facebook and being like, so the square root of 18/5 is
right. So they spray a solution that is composed of the enzyme, water, and calcium. Then they blow CO2 and fill the cracks in minutes, or use the ambient CO2 in the air, which will take longer to heal the cracks.
Now they can't put it on hard concrete.
Yeah.
So they can just put it on hard concrete, and then the hard concrete will fix itself?
Well, it's not so much the concrete that's fixing itself. What it is the enzyme is reacting with the water and calcium with CO2 and forming crystals, which bond together to basically heal over the concrete and keeps the cracks from growing bigger. Because why does a crack go bigger, right? So you got a crack, and like take my patio for example, it's got a small hairline crack in it. Well, it gets bigger when water gets into it, and it expands and freezes and expands. That's why the cracks get bigger. So when these crystalline crystals fill the gap, no water gets in there.
Because for me, when I see a crack, like I'm thinking when something sets and then it sinks more than they thought it would and whatnot. And look, that happens. It happens like a house has to settle. And then a crack happens. If it was self-healing and it cracked and repaired, you would never know that your house is slanted or something was wrong.
Until your windows won't open anymore.
Yeah.
They have pictures of it. It's kind of interesting. You can see the repair where they cut a hole in it and then they sprayed it on there and it repaired itself. The crystalline structure filled it in.
That's pretty weird. And it's like white.
Yeah. It's lighter than the original concrete.
And I don't understand things.
Science, man, they can do all kinds of things. They put their mind to it.
Well, that's the whole point of science. To put your mind to it.
That's why I'm not a scientist. But I thought that was kind of neat.
I just, talk about like science stuff. It just makes me wonder, when are they going to run out of things?
You can't, because science never ends.
Well, but I mean, eventually I don't know. I guess, at one point they thought the A-track was the only way to hear music, and then somebody figured it out.
Some people still think records are the only way to listen to music.
Ready Player One in a couple years.
Well, yeah. We are. I mean, you do everything with your phone these days.
And parents would be so bad if something like that.
How did our parents get through road trips with us as kids without an iPad?
Especially me. Like I talked to.
I'm convinced they just drugged you and tied you to the top of the station wagon, and you just don't remember.
They said I wouldn't shut up. All I would do was talk, and I'd tell them about the show.
So nothing has changed.
Yeah, but I mean, I would go from the start of a show to the end of it, word for word, everything that happened, and that's what I would tell them. And they're like, "Well, we watched that show with you." Be like, "Do you remember though?"
You remember that part?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't shut up. I think of like whenever people tell me that, they're like, yeah, you don't. I think of like every hockey tournament that I've been at, and I talk to the goalies, I talk to the other players, I talk to the refs, I talk to my players.
And you're not you're not chirping or anything. You're just having a conversation.
Well, I'm one of those. People go up and be like, "Well, yeah, I was with your sister last night," and that's like their chirps to the other team. I like to go up and be like, "Man, you guys are playing really great. You almost had a goal there. And if you would have got it, we would have been tied." And if we're losing, I like to go up and they're just like, they'll say insults. I'll be like, "Don't worry." I was like, "We just want you guys to feel a little bit better about yourself. We'll try a little harder next time."
So you'd be like, "So if you had got that goal, we wouldn't have shut you out."
Yeah. Or like, you score in a goalie and he makes the save, he misses the save, and you're like, "Man, if you wouldn't have moved your glove, you would have had that."
So you've done that to me. Or you just flip it over my glove and just give me that stupid smirk. Like, it's coming. Why did you not get it? And actually, towards the end of last year, I did start to get them. I wouldn't catch them, but I'd knock them up over the post because I'm like, oh, he's just going to flutter it.
My favorite one was when I went and I was going down, and I think it was a 2-on-1, and you were like, "I thought you were going to pass because you always pass," and I didn't.
No, I totally cheated. I slid over early and just watched it slide by. I'm like, "Jeez."
Hey, I always give you an opportunity to save every shot that I take.
Right. Except for that time.
Mm-hmm.
Because you knew I was going to move.
Well, I mean, teaching, like, because you're a beginner.
Yeah.
Teaching beginners, there's no reason for somebody like me to go down and score a goal. But if I'm gonna, I might as well make it so you could save it.
Right.
If you were just in, like, the right position. And I'm not going to, like, shoot a freaking bullet at you either. Because then it gives you that chance to react to it. That's just the way I am.
Just the way you are.
Yeah.
And you will never know, like, on the saves, if I actually, holy cow, that's a good save. Did he actually mean to make that save, or did he just, whoa.
I've watched enough NHL to know that most of those goalies didn't know they were going to save it. They just played the odds.
They play the position. It's all about, and goaltending in hockey is all position. If you're in the right spot, that's 80% right there.
I mean, I know there's a lot of baseball people probably that would be listening more than hockey.
Yeah.
And think of 100-mile-an-hour fastball, how often you can hit that as like an average Joe. And when you can, how accurately can you aim it every time? And I was like, hockey, not everyone here is going to be shooting 100 miles an hour, but I guarantee you we've got a couple guys that can shoot probably in the 70s.
70s and 80s. I'd say the hardest I've ever been is probably 80.
Because we can't take slap shots, but I mean, getting like a 70, 80.
I'm sure Jeff's got one of the hardest shots I've ever faced.
Jeffrey Ralph.
Oh, he hit me in the collarbone one night. I thought he broke my collarbone. Oh, and I have extra padding in my collarbones.
Well, and when he shoots too, it makes it look like he didn't do anything.
Right.
He's just like, I'm just.
We were warming up one night, and he did that to me. But he shot it right into my glove, and I thought, I don't windmill save because I think that's stupid when I see goalies do it.
Yeah.
Like, there's no reason to flail your arm. But he shot it so hard, it knocked me over because he shot it right into my glove and pulled me over.
Yeah, I love sports.
Yeah.
And
speaking of which, you have two under-average softball players waiting for a team.
Oh yeah, I mean, Derek and I will play on any softball team, and we will do commentary while we're doing it. We will.
I'll be standing there getting ready to hit. Barry will be standing on deck. He's going to miss this pitch.
If you guys have a baseball team and you need two people that are, when I was young, I was pretty good at baseball.
When I was 8, I was awesome.
So I
could hit that thing off a tee.
We've only gotten better in age. So, I mean, you get a couple beer in me, and I'm a better hockey player with a couple beer in me.
Calm down a little bit.
No, I just don't think.
That's true.
You play better when you're not thinking about it. Oh man, we're almost at the top of the hour. I should do the.
Right, we've been ranting on a while.
Yeah, you are listening to Average Rants here, KMC 90.1 FM. We still need a jingle. I keep remembering, and then I go to load it up to go see what I can find, and I end up playing games.
So uninstall all the games off your computer for a week.
That sounds like a dumb idea.
Anyway,
we got to do this thing. Community calendar. I like to shake the paper so that people know that I'm using the paper.
The real life paper.
Yeah. Today's the 13th, so Pep and Park program is going to be on Monday, June 14th. That is at 9 a.m. till noon. Bring kids. It's not for adults. Bring kids.
We just talked about this.
I know, because I got to go over in case we have new listeners.
Why can't it be for adults too? Why is it always at the kids?
Let's be honest. They assume that adults don't want to do crafts, but I want to make the little caterpillar thing or something too.
A magnet for the fridge?
I took my daughter down to the.
Did you see the Play-Doh things I was making the other day? I was making D&D characters out of Play-Doh.
We were at the park and they were doing one for the library. The library was doing a little thing. We brought your kids to it. Yeah. And they were making a bird feeder, and all it was toilet paper roll with peanut butter, and then you roll it in seeds. And I was like, can I do it? But I was like, no, I can't. We're not supposed to do it. It's for the kids. And then they were putting the animals in the biomes. And I was watching. I was like, that doesn't go in that biome. I wanted to do it to put it in the right biome.
Oh, man.
But then, we've got that. The Pep and Park program is pretty. It looks like it's like every day.
Oh, the Playmobil?
No, the Pep and Park program.
Oh, I don't know what that is.
It's on Monday.
See, they used
Tuesday,
to do the Playmobil, like where you go over there and you do arts and crafts, play games.
And then Friday, June 18th, is the Midsummer's Night Dream, Montana's Actor Theater.
We would totally go to that, except we're going to be in Great Falls.
Yeah, and we would expect to be celebrity guests. So
front row seats.
But
with a great review on Sunday at 3, but we will be in Great Falls.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we got to remind people that we might not be on next Sunday.
I know you guys.
Our wives say that we could make it, but they don't know how we could get into trouble down there.
Yeah. We know you guys are tearing up about the fact that you may not have to listen to us for 2 hours next.
Well, we've been talking about it, and if we can't make it back, we might try to stop. I suggested we stop at a McDonald's and use their Wi-Fi, and we can do the program over YouTube for McDonald's.
Yeah, live from McDonald's
in Great Falls. We'd have a lot of guests because random people would be like, "Are you guys going to eat anything?" No, we're just here for the Wi-Fi.
Give me a small fry anyway, because they're delicious.
But yeah, so I didn't finish that. The Midsummer's Night Dream, Montana's Actor Theater production is at 7 p.m. The bar opens at 6:30 p.m. and that is at just behind Pershing Hall and MSUN campus. And just for all you people, because I am an actor. I haven't had a lot of time to do stuff here, but
you act like an idiot on the golf course with me.
Well, it's because I can't bring it out on the stage anymore.
Right.
But if you have an inkling to even try it, you should do it with the community theater. We have a great group of people that could teach you to act and give it a shot. And if you're afraid to do it, you can always just come and do an audition and get to meet some people and try other things. There's stage managers.
Well, here's the funny thing. Like stage acting and tabletop gaming are similar in the fact that a lot of it's improv, right? Mm-hmm. And the one excuse I hear from people is that the reason they don't want to do it is, I don't want to look stupid. You're sitting at a table with 5 other people pretending to be fantasy characters. You're not going to look that stupid.
Yeah, well, so I taught, and I got to get back into it again because COVID screwed it up, but I was teaching people to do improv. And my biggest teaching thing with people is if you come to do and you're trying to learn improv and you're standing up on the stage and I say, hey, become a table. And you're like, well, I'm too shy to become a table. You are now the center of attention because everybody is now watching you because they're like, why doesn't that person want to be a table?
All you got to do is get on.
You actually stand out more in theater when you're embarrassed to do something else, which that's what I love about it because I am just loony. We did the 39 steps and I was in that. And we literally had 5 rehearsals. And I remember Grant sitting in a chair, moping. He was like, we're not going to do it. We're going to have to cancel the show. And I walked up and I just slapped him. And I was like, we're going to do it. And so we went and did the show the next day. We had not been able to get through a full dress rehearsal without screwing it up. We made up the show. It was all improv.
And yeah, sometimes you just have to do it. You just have to improv.
But it made it, to me,
this entire show that we do, improv. Not a single thing we're doing here is written down.
I'm prepped for this. Like, my wife has to remind me to bring the mic.
Don't forget the microphone. And the time you did, she had to deliver it.
But, I mean, if you want to get into acting and you're afraid of it, message us on Facebook. I will put you in the right direction. And who knows? I could be training you. I've been on TV doing acting.
Yeah.
Damn right.
Mr. Untold Stories of the ER.
That's right. I had a good scene. You've only seen the clips, but if you watch the actual show, I have more lines in it, not just gargling deaths.
Blood.
I have student films that I was in when I was in Vancouver.
Yeah.
Some of those are pretty good.
Yeah. How Stiff didn't get made, I'll never know.
I know, right?
For those of you who haven't seen it, just YouTube Stiffed and
Well, you got Stiffed the movie. On
Stiffed
YouTube.
the movie on
Not any other site.
Yeah.
Because who knows what'll come up.
Yeah. So better play some music. It's been like 15 minutes.
Jeepers, yeah. Let me.
They don't want to hear us. They quit listening.
What
random?
I'm gonna do classic barbecue, so we get some.
Sweet.
We get some other type of genre going on here.
Do not Google Stiffed.
It's Born to be Wild? Yeah.
Little Steppenwolf. Yeah, definitely Shadowlass. Do not Google Stiffed. Unless you're, yeah. Have you considered pushing a different button?
That's the only button up there.
Okay. You know, you could just adjust the thermostat.
Oh, you know what I should do on the radio? I should recruit for my WoW guild. Tell people if they want to play World of Warcraft with me.
Would you like to play World of Warcraft with me from Average Rants?
Would you like to join the guild?
All right. So I got a couple more things here. So this is both funny and terrifying at the same time for me. In Provincetown, Massachusetts, a lobster diver was seriously injured.
Oh, I heard about this.
When he was caught in the mouth of a humpback whale feeding near the beach. Like, talk about, I would shit my pants, man. Like
the thing
those things are huge.
So he was like in the mouth.
Yeah.
And so it was one of those situations where it's like, I'm going to bite this big piece of rice, like this big bunch of rice. If you bite it, you're like, something's wrong.
But apparently, he swallowed for about 20 seconds. And yeah, we all know that whales don't have, per se, teeth. They have the filtering system and everything, but they still have bone structures, and they're exceedingly powerful things.
Uh-huh.
And it broke both of his legs, and he's had some serious injuries. Like, he Pinocchio'd it, for real. I mean,
it was like, what was the name of that whale? Monstro?
Yeah.
He lived in Monstro for 20 seconds.
Yeah. Like, that had to be terrifying.
I can't even imagine. That would suck. That's like you've seen those videos where people are in the kayaks and then they come up.
Well, yeah, but the thing is the guy's like, yeah, I see great white sharks all the time. You know, you got to watch out for those things. Never been bitten by a shark. Whale.
I was eaten by a whale.
Yeah. That would be just.
I wonder if he shit his pants.
I would have.
No, I just.
I mean, full. Just as a defense mechanism for it to let me go. This tastes like shit. Let me out. Just bleh.
I don't like. Could you imagine? So if you're in that situation, you escape it. You go to the hospital. You get your legs kind of repaired, and then they want to interview you. And the first thing that they'll say was, "What was it like?" I guarantee you that was the first thing. And like, I would look at them and be like, "It fucking sucked."
I shit my pants. I got eaten by a whale, dude.
The whale spit me out because of the excrement
right?
that was in his mouth.
It was a shitty situation, and he just felt no, let go.
Did he have? I wonder if he had like goobers on him, or if they even have goobers because of underwater.
I don't think so. But he was all thumbs up apparently. But
thumbs up. You're my best friend, Queen. Make me feel.
Yeah, so there's that. So if you're ever lobster diving on the East Coast, make sure there are no. Whales are longer than school buses, man.
Well, we know that if you nag on a school bus, you get off scot-free. Maybe he nagged in the mouth.
Why are you eating me right now, bro? Oh, yeah.
Is that all you can do? Break 2 legs?
Is that all you got? All you tried to do was swallow me and you just broke my legs. Yeah.
Am I too tough for you? The whale probably would have choked on him because they're not meant to be.
Bring that up on a date?
Hmm?
Do you bring that up on a date?
I haven't had a date in a long time.
No, but I'm just saying, like, say, he's a single dude, right?
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, wow, what kind of interesting things have you done?
Oh, you mean like a story?
Yeah. Like, well, I got eaten by a whale once.
Yes, tell me something about yourself. I was eaten by a whale.
How'd you get out of it?
I fought my way through the blowhole. I built a small fire and made it sneeze.
Yeah.
I feel like that'd be a story that if you brought that up, if it was like a Tinder date or something, they'd be like, all right, liar.
Or they Google it and they're like, no, he shit himself to get free. Oh. So, another interesting, you had brothers and sisters. How close were you to most of your sisters? Pretty close?
Yeah, we played the game of life randomly.
Yeah. A British woman saved her twin sister's life after she was savaged by a crocodile in a lagoon southeast of Mexico City. So apparently they were swimming in this beautiful lagoon, and her sister got pulled under by a crocodile, and she dove in and repeatedly punched the crocodile in the face and then in the nose to get her to let go.
I am now picturing the Jim Carrey when he fights the...
Say, I'll go!
Yeah, when he comes up out of the water and then the alligator pops up and he looks at it.
Yeah. Yeah. That'd be a tough call for me.
Cool. We're back.
We are back. So...
All right, so we had my best friend, Queen, there. And then what was it, Steppenwolf, Wonder Woo Wild?
All right.
For that?
Little barbecue tunes. No, we were just talking about a British woman saved her twin sister's life after she was attacked by a crocodile in a lagoon.
You could have came back. You could have just came back and been like, so we're just talking about, would you save your sibling?
From a crocodile attack.
So that is the real question. Now, you've got siblings. I know you're not too fond of one and you're fond of another one.
Uh-huh.
But would you still try to save their life?
It's a tough call.
Right?
It's a crocodile, man.
Yeah, that's my thing. Like,
you can't. Okay, I can sit here and go, yeah, I definitely would do it. But in the heat of the moment, what would you do? I can tell you right now, for either my kids or my wife, yeah, in a heartbeat.
Well, the problem that I have is both of my sisters, I feel like could take on a pack of cougars. So if I'd feel bad if the crocodile.
Oh, that poor crocodile is gonna have a bad day.
And then the worst part would be, this is how it would work with mine. It would be like my older sister, if she got pulled under, and I didn't jump in. When she comes back out and has this dead crocodile over her shoulder, she'd be like, "Why didn't you help me?" And then if I did jump in and try to help her, she'd be like, "Why did you think you should need to help me? Is it because I'm a woman?" That's the way my sister is.
Yeah. Yep. After she ripped its heart out by stuffing her arm down its throat, pulling its heart out.
Yeah, and I mean, my wife would agree that she would probably be like, "No, you should just watch the show because that alligator's gonna have a bad day."
Yeah, yeah, it would be. I don't know. I'd have to be in the moment to jump in there.
You don't want to voice your opinion, not in the moment.
Not in the moment. I would fully do it for my wife and my kids, but that's My sisters. Maybe. I'd like to think I would do it. I would like to think.
I'll throw them away.
How big is the crocodile?
Let's make it an alligator. Newborn alligator.
Done. You're going to need some stitches, but you'll be all right.
All right, let's change it then. What if they jumped in and they got like a whole bunch of leeches on them?
I've already had that problem.
But then they couldn't get back out, and you had to jump in to get them out. But
What are these? What are these giant 6-foot-long leeches?
No,
that
we're talking like, because I mean I've seen it happen where my buddy walked into waded water and he walked out because we were fishing, and he'd come back and he'd be like, "Uh-oh," and there was a ton of leeches on his leg.
I'm pretty sure most guys that have gone fishing into like ponds and stuff like that.
So it's something like that, but it's like all over them, and they're like, "I'm losing blood, I'm blood loss," and then you're like, "Well, I could jump in and get you out quicker," but it came back on
because you have to adjust the thermostat. That box right there.
Yeah, well, I can't adjust the thermostat, Derek,
because it's called a thermostat. Oh, I think you could get ingenuitive with it.
I probably could. Oh, sorry, I was getting a little warm.
It was getting a little toasty in here. So no leeches. I don't have an issue.
There we go. I know people haven't been posting on Facebook much, but maybe they should tell us a story of the time that they saved their siblings.
Have I ever?
From like anything.
Yeah.
I've never saved a sibling, but I saved one of them, like my best bud back home. I saved her from choking on Rice Krispies, but it was kind of my fault that he choked on them.
My daughter, when she was born, or after when she was like 8 or 9 months old, she was just starting to eat solid foods and stuff like that. And she got a piece of chicken in her mouth. And when she was first born, we had to fly her to the NICU in Great Falls because her lungs didn't open all the way and she was having trouble breathing. So she spent a week there. But while we're doing that, we had to learn we had to watch all of these videos on what to do if your baby's choking. You hold them with their chest in your palm and you just whack them. And they had the little doll in the room and I'm over there just beating on. I'm bored as hell watching this movie, right? Well, lo and behold, about 8 months later, she starts choking on this piece of chicken she can't get out. And bless my wife, she just kind of lost it for a minute. And then I was like, calm down. I grabbed her, put her face down in my palm and just went, boom. And I mean, I whacked her pretty good. And I was like, pew. This piece of chicken shoots out of her throat. And all was good. You're like, you don't take that stuff seriously in the moment. But then when you need it, right? Because you can't do the Heimlich maneuver to a baby.
No,
I mean you'll crush them.
Yeah, it's the like gravity help and smoke them in the back.
Yeah, I popped her.
It has to be like an upward hit too.
And I popped her right just below the shoulder blades with the base palm of your hand, like you're supposed to. It made a thunk, like.
The only scare I had was I remember we were watching a show and we had the baby monitor right beside us, and it wasn't like a video one. And I heard like a weird noise. It was like
your dad radar went off.
Yeah. And
we all had it.
I was like, I'm just going to go check on her. And I go in there and she was literally choking on like vomit coming up from her. And I just had to like turn her and I lifted her up and I had her over my shoulder and I don't know. I hate the idea of like, to me, I feel like the choking stuff is like the worst thing to worry about.
Well, my son loves dum-dum suckers, right? He knows in every place in town, he knows who's going to hand him a dum-dum. So he walks in, runs right to where they're at, and gets his dum-dums, right?
Mm-hmm.
But he loves to run, right? And you've met my son. He's not exactly coordinated. Like he runs into walls, doors, trips over nothing.
Things against his head for a few hours.
Right. And my biggest fear is like he's going to be hauling one day, full tilt, fall down, smack his face with a dum-dum in his mouth, and shoot that thing down his throat.
Man, I guess like you never think about too much stuff until you're actually a parent.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, today I was working on the front porch, and I had like rusted nails sticking up everywhere, and I kind of freaked out a little bit at my daughter.
Right.
And she got upset with me, and I had to explain to her that I was just worried that all it takes, because she's 4, she trips over nothing.
Oh, they trip over air.
Right? Because I just pictured her tripping and slamming into one of these boards. So then, even though I got her to leave, I then flipped over every board so there was no nail sticking up.
Right.
Ugh. What are you reading now?
We got a post about a soccer star in Denmark collapsed on the soccer field during a match. He was treated for about 10 minutes after collapsing on the field, and then he was carried off on a stretcher. I'm scrolling through it to see what it was.
Was it just a heart attack or something?
So I don't know. I mean, soccer players to me have to be in some of the best shaped athletes ever because they literally run for 60 minutes.
But you got to remember too, it doesn't matter how healthy you are. There is always the chance of because I learned this when I was in biology. Here.
My guess is he had some type of a cardiac issue.
Yeah, all it takes is because you got to remember some of the veins that are on our heart that need to have constant blood flow through them. All it takes is something like a hair size that's too big, and if it clogs one, you go into cardiac arrest.
Well, and here's the funny thing: like I've heard, and I can't remember his name right now, but there is
There's a what?
Was a football player who had been playing football his whole life. He made it to the NFL, right? He gets drafted, and he after he got drafted, they all have to go through medical checkups, right, to make sure they're. Mm-hmm. Well, it turns out he had been playing football with a severe heart problem his entire life and didn't know it. Like there was a possibility that he could have died at any time on the ball on the field because he had an undiagnosed heart condition.
Yeah.
Yeah, he had he had on-field cardiac arrest. Like I mean, that's just crazy. Like I mean, people look at most athletes as not having these issues because they're in phenomenal shape, but if you don't show any signs or symptoms, they're not going to show up on a general physical.
Well, and I mean, our bodies are just, there's so many things going on.
We're one of the most complex things on I mean, it's just it's crazy.
And all it takes is a hiccup, because that's what cancer is. Cancer is literally a mistake gets made, and instead of being fixed, it gets replicated.
Yeah.
And if it gets replicated once, it's going to keep getting replicated. So.
Yeah. They they did CPR on him on the field for 10 minutes while they brought out the stretcher. I mean, I play goalie in hockey, and there are nights where I feel like Thanksgiving, right? That day, let's play hockey right now. It's Thursday night. I felt like I had turkey gravy running through my veins. It was so bad. I'm like, I am gonna die. But I am not in any way, shape, or form in peak condition athlete. Not even close.
I'd like to think that I'm
55%
in peak condition. Because it's so weird. Like when I'm playing hockey, and I mean, I don't get to do the competitive stuff that I used to do.
Right.
But when I go and I play like with you guys, and then it jumps to I go and do the speed league, the speed doesn't bother me.
I play better, which is weird. Like, and you've pointed out several times, it's probably because the level of play goes up, so you bring it up a bit.
Yeah.
Like, I seem to, don't get me wrong, they still score a lot, but I seem to play better, move a little quicker, a little more.
Well, most people they end up playing up, even if you're not very good at something.
Unless you're the Maple Leafs, right?
No, they played at the level of the Montreal Canadiens. The Montreal Canadiens are just better at
They're just better at finishing than you are?
No, they're just better at playing at that level. Toronto didn't understand how to do it.
Oh, we're not that good at playing like crap.
If they would have only been a little bit better, we could have won.
It's all right, I'm a Viking fan. They do that shit to me all the time. It just sucks.
It seems like every team you cheer for, you say something like that about. You cheer for the Minnesota Wild.
Yep. Choke artists all the way. Although they took the Knights to Game 7, which was cool. and the Knights are rolling. I mean, just rolling the Avalanche.
Yeah.
And it's Marc Andre
because they already won.
Yeah, and it's Marc Andre Fleury.
Yeah, and they're about to roll
so it's going to be Marc Andre Fleury
against
Carey Price. Like the two, if you had to if your kid's a goaltender or wants to be a goalie, you just put on Carey Price, Marc Andre Fleury highlights for the rest of his life. That's who he has to be.
Yeah.
These two guys are the reason that the NHL is talking about making the goal bigger, because it is so hard to score.
Well, and because goalies grown in size.
So they just get taller. So it's not, and people are like, oh, you look at a goalie in hockey, like, man, that guy's got to weigh like 250 pounds, man. He's huge. Well, really not. Like, most goalies are they're over 6 feet in the NHL. They don't usually aren't below 6 feet. They like them tall, but they're like 180 pounds. They're just long and lanky and just inflexible guys. I think Marc Andre Fleury is only like 6'1", but he's like $175.
Yeah. I don't know. I gotta start working out. You want to start running?
To where? McDonald's?
Well, at least we burn off the calories.
I actually had this discussion with Amanda last night. It's like I've been watching The Ultimate Fighter. You ever watch that show?
No.
What they do, it was basically a show that they did 20 years ago, 10, 15 years ago now, whatever, to get more fighters into the UFC, right? They were trying to find talent. Mm-hmm. So you basically went through this show. You had to fight to get onto the show and all that stuff. And these guys are in great shape. And I'm like, man, if you want to get into good shape, that's a way to do it. Train like a boxer or a fighter. Those guys are in fantastic shape, cardio-wise, health-wise, food-wise. And I'm like, I get up so early to go to work. Like I was trying there for a while. I get up at 5 and run for like a half hour. But I was so tired by 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I can't even watch my own kids because I'm passing out on the couch because I'm just exhausted.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I go golfing
every day at 9 a.m.
And when I come home.
So, hey, here's what you do. You golf Monday, run Tuesday, golf Wednesday, run Thursday.
What's this run that you're talking?
You're the one who brought up running.
Yeah, because I should.
My thing was when I was younger is I would weight train and I would drop pounds like crazy. But I don't know if I want to get any bigger. I think I just want to get leaner.
Yeah, so there's this one guy that he was an ex-Marine that I worked security with. And I used to bug him. I like to push his buttons and I'd make fun of things. And he'd be like, you don't even know. I'd be like, yeah, that's why I can make fun of it. But I told him one day, I was like, all right, I'm going to let you get your anger in. I was like, I'll let you bear hug me and you can squeeze me as tight as you want, as hard as you want, even if it makes me pass out. So I was like, here's your chance. He was like, really? I was like, yeah, do it. And he was trying to do it. I was like, what are you doing, man? Come on. He had so much muscle, he couldn't squeeze it.
I've seen those guys. Like, they need a straw in their beer bottle because they can't get their bottle to their face.
Or is it there's a video online where there's like guys that are like us shaped, going and pulling tape off the back of their shoulder.
I can't.
Like in the middle.
Like, this is it. I can't bend.
Well, I mean, even just there,
yeah.
But they like stick it on their big buddy, and he's like, and he can barely get his arms even over his shoulder.
You know where the weight room is.
Yeah, and like, I don't know if you want to be like that. That's cool. Doesn't bother me. I mean, but for me, I feel like being more flexible and lean.
Well, what really changed it for me is playing. I mean, to be a goaltender, which is what I usually play.
And why haven't we shot any pucks this year?
We've been busy.
No, we haven't.
Yes, a lot of golf, and I got to finish a bathroom in the next few weeks.
I'm just letting you know I'm upset that I.
Well, and you find a nice new house like you said you were gonna with a big backyard.
We almost have. You know, if we take the offer that they gave us, I could have it right now.
Yeah,
but it's pretty over the top.
But
I like how you go and then I can tell
because I'm reading. Yeah.
Read
well, your wife posts some. She wanted to be like China when she was in high school.
Yeah, and like
I can't picture your wife getting that big.
No,
because she
was into books too much.
She's tiny. Like she doesn't have the frame for it.
Well, and you'd have to do a lot of weight training, and I don't know, but I feel like she probably took testosterone pills because most girls that weight train up their testosterone level a little bit. And I mean, that's not wrong. There's nothing wrong with it. It doesn't actually hurt you.
No.
But it that's how I feel like she got as big as she did.
I would get really big, like just thicken, but I want to get more flexible, leaner.
We should do average ranch yoga.
I was doing yoga
but what we'll
don't knock yoga.
No, we will teach people, and you and I will do the yoga in front of the video thing here, and we will rant about how ridiculous this is.
It's actually, and it is a big thing now, especially with most athletes these days are really into yoga. I remember sitting in the locker room one night after hockey, and people were like, "What does yoga really work?" Yes.
Oh yeah, it's really good for flexibility and
strength.
Core strength.
Oh man, if you have trouble with your core strength, 15 minutes of yoga every day, you're set.
Because when school was going on, I had that personal trainer, and they literally did one day, and I only do an hour, and for 30 minutes of it, because the first bit was my little run part, we just did yoga, and I was like, I would rather run full sprint for 4 hours.
You make me do bleachers, man. I don't care, but no more yoga.
Well, he was like, okay, the way we got to do this is you only get your breaks doing the poses. So you'd be moving and doing all the things. And he's like, your knees can never touch the ground in any of these. I was like, oh.
One of the ones I hated doing, and I should get back to doing it, but it does work. I did it quite a bit during the season. But it would be tabletop pose, but then you would bring your leg up and you'd have to reach back and grab your foot. And my hip flexors would constantly cramp when I did this, and I would just squeal because it was just painful.
All of a sudden, I just picture Amanda being upstairs. All of a sudden, you hear this. Whee!
No, she was down there doing it with me, telling me to quit crying, you girl.
That's why I stopped running with Sammy. I used to go for runs with.
Because they kicked the crap out of us.
Well, yeah, I have.
You and me would be running like, you want to slow down? Yeah, let's just a little bit. I'm not tired.
Let's walk half a little.
I'm not tired or anything. We just pace ourselves.
Yeah,
and then our wives would be like, shut up, get moving.
Yeah. Well, that's what she used to do. We would be running, and then I'd be like doing my pace, and she's like, let's pick it up a bit. And she'd start bunny jumping ahead of me. And then she'd turn around and start running backwards. She's
like, I was going to ask, did she ever do the backwards run thing? You're like, you know what? I'm not going to run with you no more.
I was like, genetically, you're meant to be able to run faster than me because I have a gut.
Oh. Yep. I wasn't built to run.
No, I was not built for speed. I was built for sitting at a desk.
I'm a dwarf. Sprints. I'm very dangerous over short distances. From here to the front door, you're in trouble.
You're like a cheetah. Quick burst and then you're done.
We brought it up a few minutes ago with the dad radar, right?
Yeah.
You've seen me catch my kid before he falls off the end of the couch. Mm-hmm. Like I see it before I can time jump.
There's also been times I've watched you let him fall.
He's got to learn at some point. We have in one of those L-shaped couches, and he just likes to jump the gap because he's 2.
Yeah.
And some days he forgets to jump the gap, and he just bloop. And he takes it he doesn't cry. He gets up and runs, looks at me, waiting me for to respond, which he's not going to get.
Yeah.
Because he's my second child, and I just.
The first one, you were like, oh no.
Second one, shake it off. Like everything's where it's supposed to be.
Sammy and I, we were talking a little bit, about, because we have kids stuff and we don't know how to get rid of it in case we have another one. And I was like, well, we could just get rid of a bunch of the stuff, keep some of the smaller things.
Keep the expensive stuff.
Like the playpen, we could keep that because that could be stored somewhere.
Right.
And I was like, we can always just get more clothes and stuff like that. Just because, why not?
Yeah. Well, yeah.
But we were also talking about it, and the thing that kind of reminds me of what you're saying is, I was like, and it'd be our second kid. I don't care if we go get some used crib.
Oh, no.
They're going to be in it for not even a full year, and then we can move them to a bed.
Before we had our first one, we had the whole upstairs bedroom set up. We had a crib, a changing table. Never used any of it once.
We had
because the upstairs in the house was literally almost unusable because the stairs were too steep, and I wasn't going to climb upstairs at 2:00 in the morning, and it was always freezing up there because she was born in September, and winter it just wouldn't work. It was just too cold up there for her, so she ended up sleeping in our room. So that stuff sat and didn't get used, and we sold it all, and then lo and behold, we had another one that I had to buy. We bought used.
So, I mean, we've got her crib is downstairs now, just in pieces, because we're like, well, it was a $400 crib because it was the crib, the change table, and they all attached. And then we also had a bassinet that was like $100 bassinet. But I mean, a lot of the stuff was actually given to us for like baby shower stuff and whatnot. But I mean, it's expensive stuff. But I'm like, we don't really need it. And then even like the bassinet, we had it. But she usually just ended up sleeping in the middle of the setting.
Right. I remember when just after my daughter was born, we went to stay with her grandparents and parents over at Big Fork. And her grandparents she's like, oh, don't worry, we got a crib from like the 1970s and 60s. These are the cribs that were outlawed because the heads would get stuck. The heads would get stuck, and then the thing would fall and literally guillotine them and break their neck, right? Mm-hmm. And my wife looks right at her mom and grandma and goes, we ain't using that. So they're like, why not? You did. And the stuff that like I remember when I was a kid, the car seats they had for us, you sat in it and it was like an amusement park, right? They pulled the thing over and it just clicked. Yeah. And that was your car seat.
I mean, my grandmother lost one of her children because back then you didn't have to have seatbelts in vehicles. Right. So the front seat had them, but her vehicle didn't have any in the back seat. Mm-hmm. And they had a van, and the van door slid open while they were on the highway, and he fell out. And so that was one of my uncles. And he probably would have survived the fall, but because it was a highway, he got hit by a car right behind him. And I was like, how do people survive? Like, I even think about stuff that I used to do when I was a kid, and I was like, nowadays, my parents would have freaking children's services coming out their door, but I was like, but I like doing that stupid stuff.
You can ride in the back of the pickup; it's fine.
Yeah. No, my dad used to let all of us just ride the back of the pickup, and I see people doing it now, and it doesn't faze me, but I know you're not supposed to.
Would you let your daughter ride the back?
Hell no! But I know she's gonna do it.
At some point, probably.
Yeah, there's you're not supposed to shoot a gun off the hood of a car.
10, 11, 12 years from now, your daughter's going to want to get on a crotch rocket with one of these idiot high school guys.
No.
And go down First Street at 60 miles an hour.
I am hoping that I can teach her the same thing, the same thoughts that I had, that cars are stupid. And like I had a buddy that was really big into them, and he was like, he used to I'd make fun of him because he'd be like, why can't I get a girlfriend? I was like, because you care more about your car.
That's true. But I know it's going to happen. I'm going to treat my daughter way differently than I treat my son. Like,
yeah. Well, it's because we know what guys do.
Oh, we know what we think. We know how we're thinking, but like. You could see it like, oh, you guys got a date, you don't care that your son's got a date. Your daughter's got a date, all of a sudden dad comes out. With who? What's his name? Who's his mom? Who's his dad? If your son, you don't even, you didn't get a date.
I told Sam.
With a girl?
The first time that she brings a boy home when she's like a little older, not like if she brings a date at 10 or 12 or whatever, but like in high school age.
Prom, man.
As she brings, most guys sit there and they do you clean your gun when they come over. I'm going to be taping a hockey stick. And I just wanted to, because he'll be confused.
You need the old school goal mask with a goalie stick.
Well, I'm just going to be sitting there and I want to tape it. And if I'll be like, so do you play hockey? He'd be like, if he says yes, then we're getting on a good pace. If he says no, then I'm going to start putting goalie pads towards him. And I'm like, before you go on this date, I'm going to get to take a couple shots in. So you want to come out and...
Just to see if you're tough enough to defend my daughter's honor.
Just because I want to take some slap shots at the kid.
Don't give him the goalie cup. Oh yeah, but I hope I wouldn't do that, but I know it's going to happen. I'm going to treat my son far different, and I already do.
Yeah, guaranteed it's going to happen. I feel like it's that. For me, it's because I know the thought process and I thought I was actually a pretty good kid. My sister got pregnant young, so I was afraid to have a kid young. So I watched that growing up, and I waited a long time before I even considered doing that kind of stuff. But I still know what my thought process was, and I don't like the idea of that thought process happening for my daughter.
Right.
Like, I get why my father-in-law hated me at the start.
He
knew what was going on.
Guys got one thing on their brain, right? It's one end goal.
Yep.
Yeah, we have good intent to start, but it all ends up at the same spot.
Yeah, it is. You can't deny it. But genetically, that's what we're supposed to do.
Yeah, we breathe, we eat, we sleep, we die. Yeah. That's it.
So there's always one end goal. You just hope that the end goal, like all I hope for my daughter.
So basically, all you do is you have to keep feeding him, because if you keep feeding him, he's just gonna sweet food. Yeah, if there's one thing a guy will take his mind off anything, just give him some food.
If my in-laws would have, because they weren't the nicest to me at the start. Well, at least not until we got married. But if they would have been a little bit more, involved in wanting to hang out and like play games and feed me. Oh my God.
Oh man, when I first started dating my wife, I was working fast food, So I get one meal a day, and it was a pretty miserable meal because you work fast food, you don't want to eat all that food, right? And I'm sitting over there, and I am just, I'm not talking much, and I'm eating, and everybody at the table is critiquing her dad's meal in one way or form, This could have been. And he just says, you know what? And I'm like, I'm not paying attention. I'm listening, but I'm not really paying attention. And he just looks at me and goes, you know what I like most about you? And I froze. I'm like, oh, God. You don't whine. You don't moan. You don't care what I made for dinner. You're just eating it. And I just said, yes, sir.
Well, have you ever heard me critique any of the meals?
Because it's free.
Yeah.
I didn't... Like if I live paycheck to paycheck, and my money went to rent, video games, and CDs. Once rent was paid, the video games and the CDs I bought that week were bought. I was broke for a week and a half until I got paid again.
CDs.
That's right, people. I bought CDs. But yeah. And so I would, when they're like, you want to come over for dinner? I was there every time.
Oh yeah, I love food.
You had cereal and water. One of my meals was macaroni and ketchup. I got noodles and I got like tomato sauce, kind of, right?
Yeah. I feel like everybody needs to have that time in their life when they're broke, but barely getting by to really live.
You have not lived until you have pulled every couch cushion looking for that last quarter so you can afford a McDonald's like McChicken or something like that. Because you're starving.
Well, I feel like too, like that kind of situation happens. I'm going to say that happens to most people. Is where that situation happens.
Where you live off ramen noodles and mac and cheese.
But there's some, and I feel like this is where we get that change in how people are. Like for me, when I hit that rock bottom and that was happening, I was like, I don't want this to keep happening. And I started fighting and doing stuff to make it so that
and then you don't want it for your kids either,
right? But then some people fall into it and they're like, oh, I'm fine with this.
Yeah.
And that's where we get that poverty line.
Yeah, they're okay with just being.
Yeah, and that's fine because it's not my problem.
If you want to gut it out, that's great. I don't know what it is with those microwavable cups of macaroni and cheese. I can't eat them. You give me a box of Kraft mac and cheese, I'll eat the whole box.
Yeah.
But if you cook it, the noodles in the that stuff's just that's not.
So like we used to buy the cheap macaroni and cheese, like the no-name stuff.
Yeah.
And then I was fine, but it was a weird thing. I was fine with it. And then one day, I remember like KD was on sale, like the actual Kraft dinner.
Mm-hmm.
We got it. I ate it. I was like, I ain't ever buying the cheap stuff.
I'm going from 60 cents a box to 89 cents a box. I don't care.
I'm going to find and make it up on the corner. I don't care. Hey, we should play a little bit more music. We played like 4 songs today. I'm just going to play the classic rock because Renegade is on.
So, yeah. Did I just hear you say, basically... All right, so this is for you, Barry, because you're in trouble.
I'm in trouble?
Read it. Did your wife posted it?
No.
So for those of you who can't read it, it says, did I just hear you basically say people who are in poverty are only there because they don't care enough to work themselves out of it? No, that's not what he said. He said some people are that way.
Yeah, I just said that some people, and I know because my older sister was
there are people who are okay with it.
They're content with being at a position where they can't get whatever.
Or they're like my sister and believe it's everyone else's fault that they can't get ahead in life.
Yeah.
It's someone else's fault. Like, no, they did this, so I can't. That sounds awfully loud. No. There are people out there who are in poverty just because of bad luck.
Yeah, and with situations with
how
things are. And, I mean, let's be honest. You get stuck in a big city, it's hard to get out because you have no money to get out, and it's hard to stay in because you have no money to stay in.
And then there are people who just refuse to take the tough path. Like, at some point, you're going to have to make that tough decision. Do I go this way or do I go that way? And sometimes that tough decision will pull you out.
Yeah.
Institutional racism.
Yes, we know you used your smart words from your criminology degree.
Stop being all smart on us, Sammy. It's not fair. This is average rants, okay?
We don't know.
We don't know anything. But we do know that there are some people out there who are content with where they are, which is great, which is fine. If that's the way you want to go through it, that's it.
Well, so for me, and I this isn't...
So what I did, I was fine with the way I was going at it, and then I looked at my wife and went, she's going places. I'm going to attach myself to that.
Bing, right there. Oh, you're going to university?
And you're beautiful. And you're willing to do what with me?
Bing.
Sold. I love you. No, I could guarantee you right now, would you be sitting here today if not for your wife?
No, I'd be in Canada with my family.
Right. But never mind. Would you be in Canada, jobless, poor, with your family?
I'd probably be a bankrupt. And that's like rock bottom.
Right. I would probably still be here. My wife is the only reason I got out of food service was because her dad offered me a job.
Yeah, I mean, the bonus thing for me is I always wanted, even if I was working at like an IGA,
right?
I wanted to become a manager.
But I think the difference for you and me, and this is just me knowing you over the last year, is because, like I said, we were put into certain positions and given an opportunity. We didn't pass the opportunities up. We looked at the opportunity and like, you know what? Her dad's giving me this job. If I take this job, I have a chance to better myself and my situation. And
well, mine was...
Am I not afraid to do it?
Sammy was going to British Columbia, and I had to make the decision. Do we go over there with no money?
Right.
And it would just be her and I, or do I stay in Ontario with our family, like my family? And I don't know. I was just like, you know what? It'd be fun.
And sometimes you just have to take that step. Like, you know what? Let's just see where it goes. Like, you're standing at a Y path, right? You got the nice clear path. It's got flowers on both sides. Like, that's a sweet looking path. And you look over, you got the rose bush thorny path. You're like, what's on the other side? Right?
Mm-hmm.
And we've all had to make those tough decisions. Like, I just left a job after 17 years. I did that job in my sleep. Quite literally, most days I did it in my sleep. To something completely new.
I haven't had a job.
Well, we know you're lazy. It's okay.
Yeah, that's the problem.
No, I gave you a job for the next 10 days. Or, well, now 5.
It's been the easy, and I'm not gonna lie.
It's because you pass it off on your wife.
No.
Yes, you do.
No, you talk to her. We both agreed that I don't know what it is, but we don't have to do anything. Like, he's not like how he is at your place.
He's insane when he's at home.
Yeah, when he's at our place.
And here's the crazy thing. Your wife said he'd be easier to watch at my house. Does she think so now?
I don't know. Like, because he goes up and down our stairs fine. And he knows not to touch the TV stuff. He knows not to touch the reptiles. And it's true. Every time one of us goes, Kingston, no. Lip comes out. He looks down and he stands there.
So when I go, Kingston, no, he goes, huh.
Really?
Yeah. Here comes the crazy train. You got nothing.
He hasn't done that. I know it's going to change, but I don't think it's going to change in another week. And it also helps that he likes playing with the kids, and we told Aurora.
He does like that. He's way different when Aurora and Persephone are in the house. Like, if he could go play with them.
Well, that's just what we do. We actually tell them that no matter what they're doing, if he wants to come, he's allowed.
So do we have to pay Persephone and Aurora for this?
No. We are providing a service. She's just our employee. But she's too young to make money, so she can't work.
We'll tax it. We got to talk about my pay it forward before we go too.
Oh, that's right. Yes. I still can't believe that lady just told me to go away. I hope yours actually worked for you.
What?
That you're paying forward actually.
I have no idea. Yeah, you should probably try watching Kingston without the girls. Although you do watch him without Aurora for a couple hours.
Whenever I watch,
but that's
him
about
that
his
one time.
nap time.
I watched him a couple times, like just with him. He just chills out and watches whatever I'm watching on TV.
He likes watching The Ultimate Fighter, which is kind of crazy because that's MMA, right? And all of a sudden the other day, he's playing with one of his teddy bears and he's slamming it on the floor like they do with the Ultimate Fighter, like the wrestling guys do. And I'm like, huh. Yeah, I'm sure he's super easy during nap time, Barry.
He didn't nap last time at our place.
And then he has not yet crapped his pants either. I got him home the other day.
We told him.
I got him home Friday. 15 minutes after we got home, I see him over in his kitchen. I'm like, you're not supposed to do that.
Okay, so here's the thing, though. I have yet to change his bum. Sammy's been doing it. It's because I kind of forget about it. Because I haven't had to think about it for so long. And
you will when it's a nasty stink bomb.
Oh. And we're back.
Did you run a little late there?
No, I almost went into the next one.
Oh, almost.
But yeah, so you wanted to tell us about your pay it forward story.
Yeah, well.
Or whatever you did.
Whatever I did.
I don't know. You didn't tell me. You said I had to find out like everybody else.
Well, you're going to find out like everyone else. Yeah. I get up every day and go to work at like 5:30 or 6 in the morning, right? Mm-hmm. And we have, I don't know how to rephrase phrases, like there are some people who are less fortunate than others, in town. They have a tough time. They run out collecting cans and stuff like that. And the last few days, I noticed it on Monday and Tuesday, the same guy was hanging out in the alley behind where I work every day I got there. And it was pretty cool this last week. For a few days, it was cold and rainy and kind of crappy. And I was running behind one day, and so I decided, you know what? I'm gonna go because I ran to McDonald's real quick because I was hungry, and I got the kids fed, but I didn't get myself fed because apparently you got to put your kids first. You don't feed your kids; it's bad, I guess.
I just eat their food.
Whatever they don't eat, I eat. My kids are pigs. So I ran to McDonald's. You know what? I'm just going to grab an extra breakfast sandwich and a cup of coffee really quick. And if he's there, I'll give it to him. And he was there. So, and I didn't say anything. I just said, he said thank you, and I handed him the sandwich and the coffee. And I was like, have a good day,
Yeah.
So, and he kind of smiled at me. He didn't say anything, but he smiled and, kind of nodded. And because, and I've done this before where there was a guy in the parking lot at IGA, and he had a sign and asking for anything that helps. And sometimes these people are just doing this for handouts, right?
Yeah.
But one day I saw this guy and I handed him I was saving $10 in my wallet because I'm being a nerd. Buddy of mine, Dave, you know Dave. He makes chainmail dice bags, right?
Mm-hmm.
I had $10 saved in my wallet because I was going to buy a chainmail dice bag, and I was just waiting to get it to Dave, and I was going to buy it, and I was like, you know what? And I seen this guy, and I pulled up to him, and I rolled down the window, and I said, here, man, here's $10. Go get something to eat, whatnot. Normally, I don't like giving people cash because you just don't know what they're going to buy with it. Mm-hmm. So it's like, go get them some food or something. So, something to eat, to drink. And he was literally in tears. Like, no one had given him anything. And I don't know how hard that would be. Like, I don't like taking handouts from people.
Like, I mean, I guess it kind of depends. Because if it's somebody that doesn't want to do it, but has to do it.
To survive. Like,
it would be rough. But if it's somebody that does it because they...
But I'm not going to lie. I've been in Arizona. We go see my wife's brother. And there are people who sit there with the cardboard signs, with their iPads taped to the backside, watching Netflix and stuff like that, asking for handouts.
I mean, I worked in BC, in one of the highest vagrant populations in Canada, and I watched a homeless man come in, and we allowed them to come in. They would sit at the hospital. They would get them a soup, a sandwich, and something to drink, and then they'd leave. This one guy came in, sat down. They got him a soup, a sandwich, and a drink. And he went to take a bite of the sandwich. And he's like, I wanted roast beef. And threw the sandwich at the nurse. Because it was a cheese one instead. And I was like, those kind of things made it really hard for me to have much sympathy for some of them. But, I mean, it would be tough. I couldn't do it.
You take handouts from me?
Those are gifts. Gifts.
I just, for everybody out there, I'm like, hey, Barry, I'm cooking dinner. What time?
That's not even what time. I'm usually driving.
Yeah.
I'm usually driving. No, but you made me remember that. So I upgraded. Well, I didn't really upgrade. I wanted to get a mini sound bar for my computer system because I usually use headphones and stuff. But I just wanted something that wasn't old because I had an older system and my cat had chewed it, so it had a bunch of repairs. And it worked fine, had a subwoofer and everything. So I told Sammy just to put it up online and give it away for free. I was like, I'm not going to sell something that a cat chewed and I had duct tape back together. But I was like, it works fine. I just wanted something a little bit more simple because I don't need that kind of stuff anymore. And the lady came with her son, and I don't even think she said thank you. She just grabbed it and wanted nothing to do with us. It was like grabbing it and trying to take off. And if it wasn't for her little boy sitting there, he must have been around 8 or 9, I could tell it was for him, and he was excited to have good speakers for his computer or whatever. But I just couldn't believe that the lady wouldn't even say thank you. It was like she was annoyed that we were giving it to her. And I mean, I know you don't need anything. I didn't want any money. I just wanted somebody to have it, and I didn't want to throw it out.
We do that with our kids' clothes. When our kids outgrow things, we either give them to your daughter, or if in Kingston's case, we don't have another boy, we give them to somebody who we know has a small child. And we're like, if the only stipulation we have is we're going to give this to you, we don't want any money for it, is if your baby either outgrows it, because most babies outgrow clothes within a month. They go from it's so tiny to, my kid's case, Hulk size in no time flat. We gave away outfits that still had tags on them.
Yeah.
And we're just like, you know what? If your kid outgrows these and they're still good, just give them to someone else. Don't sell them.
Mm-hmm.
Just give them to someone else who needs them. Toys.
Yeah, for me, it's and I know we say pay it forward and don't expect anything, but I always just like a thank you.
Right.
Or at least something where it's are you sure?
I did something. It wasn't a pay it forward or anything like that, but I did something with my cousin. He's graduating out of college now, but when he was 10 years old, I had an Xbox and I was upgrading to an Xbox One. And I'm like, I don't need the Xbox anymore. I'm like, I had the Xbox. I had 15 games for it or whatnot. And he's like, oh man, I really wish I had an Xbox. And I'm like, you know what? If you give $50, I mean, this is back when the Xbox had been out for a couple of years, and the Xbox One is not even announced yet. It's not even out yet. But I switched to computer gaming, and I'm like, you come up with $50, I'll sell you my Xbox, all the controllers and the games, and he scrapped and saved dollars. I got $50 in dollar bills and quarters.
Nice.
And he wouldn't buy candy or snacks or anything when his mom took him to the store because he wanted the Xbox.
Well, I mean, that's what I was like with a kid. My dad would say that he would give me money, and I would just save it up and then blow it on a game. I was like, but I was saving money.
Yeah, and you still do it now. Like that thing with the dice chain bag. I was holding on to that $10 for a reason. It had a purpose. But then I'm like, you know what? That guy needed it more. I don't need a chainmail dice bag.
You had the nice path, yellow brick road, or the rose bush, and you decided to take that rose bush and see where the $10 would go from there.
Right?
Next thing you know, like 100 years, like 10 years from now, you're going to get $1 million in the mail because he's a millionaire.
Have you ever heard of that story? Like, I think it was on like Unsolved Mysteries or something like that. You ever watched that show back in the day?
I didn't watch
I remember one episode where there was this nice couple. We're going to run over, I think, in a while. We own the radio. It's ours. We got a key. And we know the code at the door. So, but anyway, there was this nice couple there. I think they were, I can't remember the details, but they were doing something in their yard. And this gentleman came in the yard. It was hot out that day. They were doing stuff in the yard. And the guy looked tired and like thirsty. And they offered him, hey, come in, sit down in the shade. You know, I'll make you a sandwich, get you a glass of lemonade. And they said the guy didn't say much, you know, just general conversation and whatnot. And then like 3 weeks later, they get this big giant check in the mail. They didn't know who it was from or anything like that.
No. Yeah, I don't know. Like, but the thing is you can't expect to get something like that.
No, what I like to think about is like, those actions instantly, they do give you something back. They give you the satisfaction knowing that you probably made that person's day. Not your case, because you're just terrified of the young little lady. Weirdo.
I tried to be nice.
Nobody helps people across the street anymore.
Yeah, but she looked really old.
Most people just honk until you get across the street.
I was just trying to be nice. I thought I'd meet somebody.
I know. And if it were me, would you have run me over or just helped me across the street?
I would have helped you across the street, Derek.
Yeah.
I didn't know you, and I was like, I will come over to your house.
Okay, now let's be very clear. Let me be very clear. Did you do this because you wanted to teach me to make me a better goalie, which I think was part of it, or was it just like, yeah, I get to shoot hockey pucks at something other than an empty?
I would say it was 90% wanting to teach you, because you're gonna ask Sammy. I was like, hey, this guy wants to learn to play goalie better. I was like, I think I can help him because he's a beginner. And it was 10%.
I get to shoot pucks at some random dude.
And I was, maybe it was 5% that. And then the other 5% was like, maybe I'll meet somebody that I can hang out with.
And then now my wife is annoyed constantly about how much random crap that we have in common.
She's just jealous of our romance.
Did you? I mean, you remember that night she found out when you mentioned that you were a huge Brian Adams fan, and she literally threw the ladle across the room. She got just livid. You like that too?
Why don't you guys just get a house together?
Can we?
Why do you think we're buying a house?
It's got an extra big garage. So.
Well, it is the top of the hour.
Right?
And I do have a meeting at 6.
You do.
But yeah, thank you for listening to Average Rants here.
And the Play It Forward challenge is still ongoing.
Yeah, I mean, there's fun stories. Like, I'd like to hear fun stories from random people about
either on the Facebook page, if you would like to go to Average Rants on Facebook page.
Yes, and I will try to get something up on the KNMC Facebook page.
Just make someone's day better. That's all we're asking.
Yeah, and I mean,
we're not asking you to spend money. We're just asking, you know what? Just a simple hello or handshake sometimes can do it.
Yeah.
You know, someone's just like, you're having a bad day.
We'll try to think of some other things that we can see if we can get.
You took a charity case golfing today. Thank you for that.
You? I'm not gonna lie, I went 100% because I just wanted to golf.
Right.
I didn't care who.
Fine, I gotta take this guy, but I don't want to golf alone.
Oh, it was Scott.
Yeah,
that was the charity case.
So. Anywho,
all right. Well, we may not be on next week. So we'll try to keep people posted either on KNMC Facebook page and also on the Average Rants. But if we are not going to be here, we will try to be online at this time, depending on what's going on.
Yeah.
But follow us on Facebook, YouTube, and have a great boiling hot week.
Yeah, it's only getting warmer. Today's the coolest day of the week.
But we'll bring you back to your regular scheduled programming. And
See you guys
hopefully
in a
see you
week.
next week.